There we go. Okay. Good evening, everybody. I'm really excited about this. I'm not going to have a lot of fluff at the beginning of it, just a couple reminders because I just really want to get to Kerry. I just want to remind you that next weekend is LifeVantage Academy. Go to lifevantageacademy.com to register for that. And make sure, like, put a caravan together, put some cars together, get people and get to those, because nothing beats, as we might have Kerry talk about tonight too, but nothing beats the energy of having people together physically in the same room. So please make sure you register for that. Also, this weekend is a virtual training online. I sent out that information today. Make sure you put that in your book as well, especially if you have new distributors that are coming on. It'll be a great training for them. It's also one that you can get prospects on, they said. Is that right, Kerry? Is it for prospects also? Or just...
Well, it's really more a training. So you could get a prospect on there if they for sure are interested in the business and they want to know how to do it. Absolutely. But I would have seen an opportunity webinar or meeting first.
Okay, perfect.
One-on-one.
And then also for some of you, many of you, Sean Poe is visiting Rich Scott this weekend, and they're having a big training on the 11th. I think they might be having a meeting on Friday night as well, and then also a training on the 11th. Okay. Enough of that. So I reached out to Kerry like a month ago, and I told her I wanted her to be a guest on my call. And she was super busy at the time. She's like, well, kind of asked me what I wanted her to talk about. And I kind of gave her some ideas. I'm like, I just want you to get to the nuts and bolts with my team of like what you do, how you talk to people. And she's like, well, all I do is this and this. And I'm like, I know. And that's exactly why I want you on, because so many of us on this Zoom, we've been in long enough to screw it up for ourselves. We've been in long enough to overthink it, to see the next shiny object, to see the next best video, to see the next best plan to show, and it halts us. Like, it doesn't move us forward in any way. And Kerry is like the epitome of like simplicity. She's very black and white. She doesn't sugarcoat anything. She's not afraid to tell you if you're not living up to your potential. She's not afraid to make you cry. She'll say she's sorry, but she's not afraid to do it. So I just love that about her. She's not even on social media, you guys. Like, she just said on the opportunity call, $17 million a year goes through her business. And she doesn't gloat. I mean, she's just so humble, but she's just so energized and just doing it so simplistic. So I'm kind of doing a Q&A with her tonight. You guys know how I do those. It's pretty much what I do with all my guests, Kerry, and my intention with it. You guys know my intention is always to ask the questions that I feel are going to affect you most and get your head in the right place to move forward and not overthink it. So that's the goal tonight. So with that being said, I think everyone on this call knows Kerry. Kerry Williams is a Pro 9 in our business. I don't know what I just hit on here. Anyway, she is a Pro 9. She is our upline in this business. And can you guys still see me?
You just went away.
I did.
Yep.
Weird. I don't know what I just did. Hold on. Am I here? Okay.
Yep, you're there.
I'm here. Okay. Anyway, enough. Kerry Williams, Pro 9. She's our upline. She's amazing. So, Kerry, I just want to start with when you were introduced to this business, you were pregnant, you were working full time, you were a retail manager, like life was happening. And obviously you said yes into getting started. How did Kerry Dickey, how did she get you started when you said yes?
Well, you have to understand, Kerry showed this to me one day into it for her, right? So we didn't know anything. I mean, literally. So she calls me up. She literally leaves me a voicemail. A lot of you have heard me say that, but she said, Kerry, I know it's Father's Day. I know Luke is 3 days old. I'll give you 24 hours to call me back because I have something that's going to blow your ever-loving mind. And then she did actually say, and girl, we're going to be rich. So that was the voicemail I got. I watched that ABC video. So she shared that with me. And then we just kind of got going, you guys. Really, I was saying to Tanya, I'm like, I feel like I don't have any magic, something special to say, or you're going to be like, oh, I've heard you say that a million times, but that's truly what we're doing and what we've done for the last 8 years. And we're still rank advancing. New people and people that have been with it a while are still growing. And so I'm like, why would I change that? But Kerry ran to Pro 7 in 5 months or something like that. So, I mean, and she was California, I was Arizona. It wasn't like she was holding my hand, quite honestly. So I just remember unwrapping that blueprint the second, my pack came in, and, just sitting down and going through it, frankly. And then the same thing, you guys know I signed up Maria, not long after I got involved, and same thing. So we just kind of figured it out together. Now we did plug in, Kerry instituted those calls right off the bat and things like that. But so we were all learning together. So just the blueprint, you guys, I can't say enough about that. It's frustrating, to be honest, that it doesn't come in the distributor kit anymore, but I feel like it's getting missed all the time. Like, it's critically important. Go into their back office and show them where it is in the library, or on the app or whatever, right? But just show them that, and use that tool, because that's how we built it. That's truly it. And that's still, like, whenever people are struggling, I literally say, okay, let's go back to that. Like, what step in this are we missing?
So when you onboard a new distributor, you have the blueprint ready and you just go through that step by step.
Mm-hmm. And
do you sit with them when they make calls?
Yes, huge. So, I'll have them go through that. What I've actually learned is I give them homework first, right? Because give them a few hoops to jump to, I'll have them, I still, a lot of times, will have them listen to Kerry Dickey's new distributor training CD. I mean, now it's just a free link, right? Or I'll have them listen to the Proven Plan CDs, or I'll say, look at this blueprint, start going through this, and then we'll sit and we'll talk about it, whether that's, in person or over Zoom. And so it's an abbreviated version, right? Just going through a few things. So, I really want to know, like, on their goals first, right? What do they want out of it? I mean, that matters. And you guys, ask and don't assume. And if you're doing this, with other people that you might not know directly, definitely ask. Just to give you an idea, I was sitting with a new distributor for someone else, and they told me, they said, Kerry, they want to make the money that you're making. And they were like, push them to go to Elite Academy, do this, do that, right? And then we go and sit down. So I'm like, okay, so, like, what are you looking for out of Life Vantage? In a perfect world, what do you want? And he's like, I want to get my product paid for. Totally different answer, right? But so I really, really learned, just ask, don't assume anything, and then go from there, because what they need to do depends on what they want out of it. So it's really important to know what they want. And then, of course, you can work on expanding their vision and belief and things like that, and help their goals grow and change. But it's a totally different thing if someone wants to get their product paid for versus make, Pro 7 plus income type of thing.
Right. So somebody comes to you and they say, I just want to get my product paid for. What's the next step you take with them versus someone that says, I want to go to Pro 7?
Yeah, great question. So, I mean, I do home meetings all the time still and Zoom meetings. So, if they're local or close, I do a home meeting. I mean, that's just the easiest thing. And so, yes, we'll sit and we'll make calls. We'll get a meeting on their calendar immediately, and we'll sit and we'll make calls. Or the same thing for a Zoom. I mean, so it's the same thing, whether they're close or technology or not, right? Just because I want them to build their belief in the product. I want them to get some rockin' stories of people that they love and care about. So if they just want to get their product paid for it, probably they want to do that by helping their friends and family, right? Mm-hmm. So the easiest thing to do is for them to just invite and then we give the information, essentially, right? And then you want to get them a paycheck, right, through that as well. So then you're building their belief in that. And go from there. If someone says, I want to make what you're making, or I want to be an elite distributor, that is a very different discussion. I am passionate about events, plugging into the system, like everything. And so then I'm literally laying it out there. Well, if this is what you want, then this is what you need to do. And I mean, and it could be a week or two before Elite Academy, and I would be saying, then jump on a plane, you know? So, and I say that because I know it's in their best interest.
Right. So it sounds like too that you really take a lot of time in the beginning to ask the right questions so that you know exactly how to guide them along. And then if they're not doing what you told them to do in the beginning, it gives you that measuring stick to go back to where you hold them accountable to what they said, right?
Absolutely. And I'll even be like taking notes and things like that. I always ask people ahead of time, are you coachable? And I'll kind of laugh and I'll say that it's so much easier to ask you before you're not coachable, right? Or sometimes I'll say that, sometimes I won't. But like, so if they want something, okay, are you coachable? Are you willing to do this, this, and this, you know, and what's your time frame, that kind of thing. What are you willing to do to get it? Those are the next questions I ask too, because if they're only willing to call 10 people, you know, it's not going to work. And then I just feel like it's up to us to give them an honest, like, okay, what you want doesn't match, you know, what you're willing to do. So we got to, you know, reevaluate either your goals or up your level of action.
Yeah. What video are you sharing with people today with prospects?
I still share that biohackingyourbody.com.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Biohackingyourbody.com. It's a link people can go right to.
Mm-hmm.
There you heard it, right from the Pro 9.
And you guys, I got to tell you this because people can get all worked up over a million different videos, a million different PowerPoints, a million different whatever, right? I think that's the thing. Sometimes we feel stuck in our business and we think, oh, this video or this PowerPoint or this person or this tool or whatever. What I've found is it just flat out doesn't matter, to be really honest. A video is not going to make or break you. First, simplicity and duplication are critical. So I don't change it up just for that fact alone. Because I don't want my new person to be confused. Well, wait, now you're saying to send them to Biohacking Your Body, right? But yet you showed me a different video, or I showed one person one thing and a different thing another thing. I mean, I might show them different follow-up videos, right? Depending on their questions or things like that, but I always start there. So duplication is huge. And it's just, you know, typically it's not a tool that's going to make or break your business. It's taking enough action consistently, you know, or using third-party validation or things like that, versus some slight little tweak in a video or a PowerPoint's not going to change it much.
Yeah, and I have to tell you guys, for those that, if you didn't see the opportunity presentation, I mean, I remember Kerry coming up here to Idaho, and her presentation sounds exactly the same. Same with Kerry Dickey, right? If we're to listen to her today, her presentation is exactly the same that it was before. There may be adding in some of the newer products, but it's the same story. It's the same company story. It's the same business story. It's nothing has changed in that regard. And Kerry, tell me why, tell me what home meetings consistently have done for your business in your area.
You know what? I love home meetings. Part of it, you know, like even like you were talking about events, right? Just the energy of people, you know, being there together, because you guys, this is all a business of belief. And, you know, we'll all have up and down moments, and you have to plug in consistently one way or the other, whether it's local or through, you know, Zoom things and things like that. But like, for example, you know, a few weeks back, I think I texted some of you about it, right? I did this meeting, and honestly, it was far away, and the person had all these people that canceled. But there was this rocking customer story, like unbelievable customer story there. And you guys, it just fueled everybody. Like that new distributor, honestly, like she would have been perfectly fine canceling the meeting because she felt bad for me coming there, and literally not a single guest of hers other than her grown kid was there. So she felt horrible, right? Wasting my time. But if I'd have canceled it, like she probably would have been, you know, probably done with it realistically, you know, or maybe she would have done another meeting later, but instead, like she left so fired up. And then there were, you know, multiple different people there and different teams. And so I had a different new distributor there, and they were like, you know, they met a Pro 4 and a Pro 5, and they're like, wow, there are other distributors making money, right? And this, so it's social evidence. It's just, you know, continuing to like fuel your fire, pick you up when you're down, that kind of thing. And then, you know, also for people to realize, like, again, they don't have to be the one doing it. They've got to invite, and you do want to get them presenting as quickly as possible. But anyone, to me, a meeting is so easy to invite to, whether it's a home meeting or a Zoom. It's like, hey, what are you doing Tuesday night at 7 or Wednesday night or whatever? Even if they don't come to the meeting, that makes the call or the text or whatever so easy. And then you can go set up, you know, talk to them and get the information in front of them.
Perfect. And how do you continue to add to your database?
Oh my gosh, you guys, we all just meet people all the time. No joke. I mean, we live our life, we meet people. This weekend I was at the park with a distributor. We each have kids, and I just said, hey, let's catch up. You want to like let the kids run around and we can chat, right? And there was a gentleman there, and he was obviously struggling with his health. And you know, he just had kind of chatted with us a little bit, and he was young, and he had 3 little kids there. And, you know, me and it was Stephanie was with me. We looked at each other like, we've got to talk to him, right? Like, how do we not share this with him? And, you know, so we did, and we got his information, and I ran to the car and gave him sticks of Axio, and, you know, who knows where it will turn. But so you're just always, always, always adding to your database. Always. I mean, if you've got kids, right, whether it's new school year, new teachers, new sports, neighbors, I mean, as you live your life, it's just so easy to add to that. This was crazy. Just as an example, Jillian was actually visiting in Phoenix, and there was a car with a phone number in front of them. And you guys might be sitting there thinking, I don't want to cold call someone. Well, you know, I don't want to either, frankly, but how bad do you want the business, right? Like, what do you have to lose? So I said, well, who's going to call this phone number, this realtor on the car in front of us? And they're like, let's hear you do it. So actually, I called not even from my own phone, and I left her a message, and she called back. And you just never know, but just be willing to, like, if you don't know the person, are you really going to be all worked up? If they say no, who do you care? Like, who cares? It just doesn't matter. But it's belief in what we have our hands on, you guys. Like, I'm not saying this to make a buck of them. If they become a customer, I know it can make a difference for them. But if they decide to do this business, then we're going to go to work together, right? So I know, I just feel so strongly about what this can do for people that, you know, I don't feel bad calling people.
What did you say to her?
I said, it was funny. I wish I could play the voicemail because it was perfect. Now, keep in mind, I've probably called 100 of them, and like 99 of them won't call you back, right? So you got to know that going into it. But I said, hey, you know, something about like, I'm not crazy. We're driving right behind you on Riggs. And actually her voicemail was great, like great energy and stuff. And I just said, you know, something about your picture, because you had a picture on the back of the car too, caught my attention. I love the energy. And I just said, I have no idea if you keep your options open when it comes to other sources of income, but I'm building a global wellness business, and I'm looking for entrepreneurs. I've helped retire over 50 people, and I'm looking for a few people to work closely with. And I'd love to just sit down and see if this is anything that resonates with you. That was it. And the crazy thing was, I didn't even call from my phone number, but I gave my number, and she actually called my number back, like versus just hitting call back. And then we didn't talk, but then the very next day we're at Tony Robbins' event. And so I thought, okay, I need to call her back because we're missing each other. So I called her on the lunch break. I didn't get her, and I left her a message, but then I texted her and I said, hey, I just left you a message. This is Kerry. Like, I swear I'm not a stalker. But I just, you know, thought, you know, I'd text you or whatever, right? Because, you know, I reply quicker to text. And she says, I'm actually at a Tony Robbins event, and I'll call you back tomorrow. And I'm like, kidding, I'm here too. So then I literally met her in person. What are the chances of that, right? But I just mean, if you don't ask, you guys, it's a for sure no. Is it a long shot? Absolutely. Who cares? It takes 2 seconds. And that's the big thing too. Sift and sort, quicker, faster. Say less to more people, and just be willing to go through those numbers and see who lights up versus, you know, don't be in convince mode. I mean, just, are they open? Are they not? New year, right? People are more open to reevaluating things than ever at this time of year.
Kerry, in your journey with LifeVantage, like, this isn't a question I told you I was going to ask, so sorry. But I mean, I don't know how to phrase it, but I mean, you being able to say what you said to that woman, you guys, that obviously comes from the fact that she has posture because she stayed consistent and her belief is sky high, right? Just rolls right off her tongue. The passion is just there. She doesn't care. She just knows what she knows, what she knows. And in your journey with LifeVantage, I mean, it's hard to go and stop and go and stop. And I know you've been so consistent. Would you say you have seasons of going hard and then you allow yourself to back off the brakes a little bit so you don't get burnt out? Or, I mean, what does that look like for you when you look back on it? Or is there anything you would have changed or?
Yeah, I will say I went crazy hard for a number of years. And I am the kind of person, like, I'm all in. I only do a few things and I'm going to do them well. And I'm going to take a lot of stuff off my plate. Because I like to be very, very laser focused. That's just how I function best. And so I knew what I wanted. I was like, come hell or high water, I'm going for it. And I'm going to, whatever skills I need to work on or whatever people I need to meet, I will. So I went really, really, really hard. And honestly, then my husband retired 27 months later. Oh my goodness, it was so much harder with him home. I got more done. I was busier, like more productive, even though like here he's then now helping like run the kids all over everywhere, right? Instead of me having to do that, but somehow when I had more time, I was less productive. That's terrible to admit that, but I'm just being honest. So there have been, it kind of comes and goes. Definitely ebbs and flows a bit. Whether it's my own business or rank advancements or different people on a team, right, that you're pushing hard to help them hit different goals and things like that. I've always been crazy consistent. I can honestly tell you I have never missed a single LifeVantage Academy in 8.5 years. Not a single one. The monthly ones, plus of course the Lead Academies and convention, because it's so hard to stop and start, you guys. So I've never stopped and started. But I mean, I've got, young kids. I mean, they're 8 and 12 now, right? They were 0 and 4. And so I also don't want to look back and think, okay, I built this business for my family and then I never took advantage of the time that I created as well. So for me, again, like I'm all or nothing kind of person. So like I got to go out of the country to relax and I don't get cell phone service. And I mean, I'll have Wi-Fi at the condo type of thing. That's how I chill out personally, because that's just works better for me.
I love that. Yeah, we all know, I think all of us on the Zoom, we know what it's like when you stop and then to try to start again. That's when you get in your head. That's when you don't have the posture. That's when you question what you're going to say when you get on the phone. That's when you question what video. That's when you're like, where do I start? Versus just continuing to roll with it and onboarding new distributors and then training and teaching them, and because you know it, right? That's the difference.
And I will say, I mean, there are periods, right, that you bring in more distributors than others, right? Like you're pushing harder personally in recruiting. And again, I never stopped, but it is hard. I'm not going to lie. I remember Marie and I did a Zoom on Sunday or Monday with some people. And a few years into it, like I remember like, okay, I'm going to recruit like crazy again. We had some huge meeting, whatever. And I remember like calling her from the parking lot going, Maria, like I got this person on my chicken list. How did we build this? Oh my goodness, right? What do I say? So the reason to tell you that is I want you to know, like, and that was even after like, making good money and things like that. Like we all struggle with those moments. So if you're feeling that way, that is so normal, but it's what do you do or how do you get out of it, or just go take action. Even if you stink, like honestly, I did not love that Zoom that I just did. Like, I don't know, I felt like rusty, but I'm like, who cares? I'll be better for the very next one I do. And I got a meeting, at a new distributor's house on Thursday night. But so you just take action and you get better. Like, but keeping your head out of the game is the worst thing to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's your go-to when people say, what do you do?
And I feel like I still don't have a great answer for that. I have been saying, I'm building a global wellness business. So it just, sometimes, I will say, sometimes I'll say network marketing. It kind of depends. Like if that's going to like shut the door, then no. Yeah. I still feel like I don't have a great answer, honestly. I need to work on that.
I know. That's where I feel the same way. What about like your invite? What's the invite that you use the most, you think? Or do you think it depends more on the situation because you asked a lot of questions?
I do ask a lot of questions. I love invites based. I mean, just if you guys ask enough questions, the doors will they will lay it out there so beautifully, for you to say something. I do invite way more for the business. Don't get me wrong. I love, love, love these products. They are groundbreaking, and I absolutely tell people about the products all the time. But if you're, you guys are on this call, right? Because you want to build your business. I mean, you're looking for entrepreneurs. You're looking for like-minded people. So when I sit down with a brand new person, I literally, because I don't know if you want me to go back to that or not, but, I'll have them make their list. But then I say to them, who do you want to work with, right? Who's your dream team? Who's the most motivated person you know? Who's a go-getter? Who's a great leader? Who has a servant's heart? Who just naturally shares? Who's someone like with the dog with the bone? And we'll literally call them and say that, like, hey, I just got involved and I'm sitting here thinking about who do I want to get this business off the ground with? And you're the most motivated person I know. And you've always impressed me with, whatever, XYZ, be genuine, right? But if you call someone and say, I'm sitting here I want to put together my dream team, and you're at the top of the list, you think they're not going to look at it, right? Just last night, I was talking to a brand new person, a different new one, that's a salon owner. And, it's easy for her to share the product, but I'm like, you've got to get comfortable sharing this business as well. Since she told me she was really looking, for income. And I just said, that's the way you're going to reach more people. And so just, educating people on that whole process. But so, I do love calling people on things like that. And I think don't be afraid to lay it out there. Like, I would love to work with you. Or, oh man, I was talking to Charisse. Hang on, let me find it. And she just the other day, and she gave me, hers was so simple. She's like, girl, I'm onto something huge and I'm not leaving you behind. Right? Like, you can say that to a good friend or whatever, right? You don't have to say the girl part, right? If it's not a girl. I'm onto something huge and I'm not leaving you behind. It doesn't matter the words that you say. It's posture, it's conviction, it's energy, a sense of urgency. That's it. Like you have to check this out. This is going to blow your mind. It might not be for you. I say that all the time. What else? Yoga, I'm like, look, like, I don't want to make anything funky, right? The people that you see all the time, like, check this out. I think this is going to blow your mind. You're going to be all over this, and think about this. Well, I don't know, whatever, I'll say whatever. But then some like people at yoga or whatever, I'm like, look, and if you're not interested, don't worry. Like, never, ever, ever feel like it's going to be funky with us. That's just not me, right? I put it right out there to just like take that pressure off of them, but to get them to look at it.
I love how real she's just being Kerry. She's just being herself.
And
getting in her head.
Help the people find ways that's real and sounds like you, right? If you say some of that would sound really weird, right, to different people. But find a few invites that really do feel real for you, and help people role play. That's the hardest thing to do. Get them into action, to pick up the phone and do that. And then literally, I mean, I love to just, grab the phone and show them how the magic of third-party validation. Like, hey, I'm sitting here with my friend Kerry. She just wanted, I just wanted to introduce you guys real quick. Boom, she's grabbing the phone. Keep it casual and all that, because sometimes you're sitting there with someone that they don't have that posture, that conviction. And that way you can kind of be their voice for a little bit, and just give them that energy and answer. And then they'll see that magic of third-party validation, you guys.
Love that. Sorry for that scream. My dog scared the crap out of me when I had to mute it really quick. That scared me.
Well, yeah, I get it. Yep.
One more question to you, Kerry, is what do you say to people that think they need to know a lot before they get started? They should research more. They should know the products. They should know, how the business works. What do you say to people like that?
Oh, you guys. It's a fine line, right? I tend to be too blunt. So, I've had to learn to judge my audience as well on that. First, I try to convey to them that this is a business of duplication and why simplicity is so huge and why they don't need to be the expert. And I'll just tell stories of other experts, right? Like I might use Dr. Brimhall, right? My son's doctor. Here he's formulated hundreds of supplements, but here's how he does it, type of thing, and why, right? To give them examples of other people. But so showing them why simplicity is so key. But then on, you have some people that they're going to go research everything. You can't stop that. Or, whatever, people like that. And I'm like, okay, so look at all that to build your belief and to get rock solid, because I want you to be rock solid. I do want you to be educated, but I'm like, but don't go do all that so you can spew all that to everybody, right? So, and then I tell people too, because everybody wants to read all the studies, look at all the YouTube videos, do everything, right, on the product. But I tell them, go get equally passionate about this industry. Be intentional about learning about why this industry is so huge, because you're going to get more rejection based on that, right? The pyramid scheme, and I can't believe you're doing that and all that stuff. And so you need to get equally bulletproof on that, but just to get them consciously thinking about it, because most people don't think about that. But it's like, okay, go learn all that, but then here's what how you want to do it. Here's why, here's the model, here's simplicity, trust me, and some people, you got to let them knock their head the hard way.
Yeah.
And others are teachable, so just, you got to meet people kind of where they're at, like guide them on the right direction, but you can't just hammer everyone equally. I've definitely learned.
Yeah. So the common theme tonight, go ahead. What?
Introducing people to the team as well. So new distributors, I have some groups that are phenomenal with that. And I don't make it like 10 or 12 people like deep. To me, that's just too crazy. And the person's like, who are all these people? But you want to just introduce them to a few key people so they know it's real. People that, they could like to just see, okay, here's other amazing people that are doing this business and they're fired up, or their stories or things like that. So introducing people just to the people and the culture and the community is huge. So doing those welcome introductions is really, really huge. And one other thing too is their story. A lot of times people don't realize the power of their story. So that's what I'll actually work with them. And I've learned that more so because again, they're thinking they've got to know it all. So it's like, no, here's like, let's talk about your story, right? Why are you passionate? Why are you excited? Or maybe they've had good results, or why did you join, right? Like, so, okay, how can you talk about your story, what you already know, right? You don't have to go research that. Like, your story is easy to say, but help them frame that up. Like, for example, I've got this new couple. They're amazing. So it's someone that I enrolled, it's her nephew, who their relative, his grandmother, her mom, has had massive, massive results 6 years ago. Sorry, it's a crazy story, but follow me because this is really good, actually. So Tony's grandma had these huge results 6 years ago, but they weren't, his aunt who introduced it to him, they weren't really open to that. And he literally kind of said, oh, I just thought it was my crazy aunt, right? Even though they witnessed his grandmother have these massive results. His wife, Tony's wife, is the caregiver for the mother, so that she's literally witnessed the results firsthand for 6 years, these huge results, okay? Then someone else came along, and the distributor continued, to stay in touch with them. Someone else that then they kind of, really looked up to join the business. And then this couple was now open to taking a look. Well, they already knew the product worked. So I went and we did, their first home meeting. And I was and so, I said, well, do you feel comfortable like welcoming everybody, introducing them, just telling them what got you so excited, right? And they just didn't. So I'm like, we kind of walked through that process. But I'm like, you guys, your story is amazing. So, and they believed in network marketing from a past thing, but I'm like, you already, or I shouldn't say they believed in it. They had issues with it, actually, is what I meant to say. But they know the product works. So I'm like, you guys can stand up here and say, wow, we witnessed these results with my grandmother over the last 6 years. We saw this, and this. We were not open at the time, But wow, we wish we had really given my aunt a chance to actually show this what this is, because when we did, we were blown away. And they were like, don't be like us, right? Don't wait 6 years to jump on this business type of thing. But as I like kind of coached them through that, then they're like, I'm like, you guys have an incredible story, right? Like, so literally in the thing, I'm like, don't be like Tony and Des and wait 6 years. Like, you know, if you're a guest hearing this tonight, don't wait 6 years, you know, just kind of joking and being lighthearted, but true, like planting that seed, like this is the real deal. But so this story is important, and anyone, you can help people feel comfortable telling their story very easily. And that's what will relate and get their friends and family to take a look, whether it's product, whether it's business, whatever, but just help them with their story.
I think that's so key, you guys, because how many times do people sign up and then they think suddenly they need to be somebody else? They just suddenly, I'm a distributor, and they go into robotic mode and they're not themselves. They forget their authentic story. That's awesome advice, Kerry. So it's a new year. Let's just end with going into 2019. Give us your best advice. Like, what would you say to all of us? Because no one on this Zoom tonight is new. Like, I would say the average lifespan is probably 3 years old.
Okay. So you guys, I would dig deep. I would go back to your why. Why did you get involved to begin with? What is it you really want? Get that feeling, right? I was just talking to a different distributor about this. What will your life be like? Like, if you don't make this happen, right? You know, what is your burning desire? I mean, realistically, are you going to get what you want a different way? You know, I know I wasn't. So really, you know, find that burning desire within you again. Find the pain maybe of where you're at in your situation. And then I would say, you guys, start fresh. Honestly, this business is all about the lifeblood with new people. So, but you're starting fresh with experience, with passion, with knowledge. You know exactly what to do. You know, you've got an amazing leader. Tanya is so incredible. And you know what to do with new people, right? So it's not like you're starting brand new, but I want you to literally go out there and make a new list, you know, whether they're new people, whether they're people you need to follow up with. Have a home meeting, have a Zoom webinar, and invite like a banshee, like your life depended on it, right? If with your team, sit and make calls or text challenges, right? That 7-day challenge, right? To message 5 people that a lot of people are doing right now, different things like that. But just start fresh. You guys, this is, like I said, January, everybody's reevaluating things. It's so easy to have those conversations and go back to people. I'll totally bust myself on this one. So a really good friend of mine, I signed her up years ago on the product. Like, I introduced her to Kerry Dickey, like everything. She never did do this. She ended up getting off the product. She ends up texting me about something else. I ended up getting her back on the product, and she got like a vitality stack or whatever. And so then I was asking her about Axio. Now, this is a good friend of mine. And I'm like, Nicole, did you ever try Axio? She had no idea. So here, I talked to her years ago, and honestly, I let her fade away, right? All those years in between. And I mean, Axio came out over 4 years ago, and I'm like, are you kidding? So I said, I am so sorry. That is actually the product that changed Luke's life. And, you know, got her on that and filled her in and all that. But I just mean that you have people that you maybe talked to 3 years ago. Maybe they signed up, maybe they did it, you know, got on it, maybe they didn't, whatever. New things have come out since then. So look at that whole list of people as well, but just make a big old list of new people, of old people, of people you can follow up with. Don't spend forever with any one person, but, you know, truly set a challenge and look, you know, right now, because timing could have changed in people's lives as well, plus the new products and things like that. But just start fresh, but knowing that you're starting fresh with this, you know, base of volume, base of knowledge, base of, you know, relationships and all that. But go after it, you guys. Like, you gotta do something different, right? If you want a different result. So take that massive action, you know, and just go crazy. I mean, truly, like, massive action is really where it's at. Like, I don't care how you're contacting the people or exactly what you're saying, but just sift and sort like crazy. If you don't use third-party validation, use third-party validation, whether it's a person or a tool or whatever, but use that. Like, don't be the expert and things like that. So just get after it. Like, now is the time.
Now's the time. Thank you so much, Kerry. Do you guys kind of see the theme of tonight? Simplicity, right? It's all about simplicity, getting out of your own head and duplication. Yes,